is Marisa, and I have been in Vermont for 2 years now. We really met, I guess, like 2020 or so, so I would have been 27. And Jade was just one of a kind. She was one of those people who's so authentically herself and just not afraid, not she didn't care what anyone thought. She was going to show up as she was and made it very known. Well, she was non-binary, so I may switch between they, he, and also very open with the mental health and the struggles they faced. She was everyone's best friend. And she showed up for everyone with such care and compassion that like everyone in the community felt it, her absence and the loss of her. The day that it occurred, so it occurred in like the wee hours of the next day, but in that evening she had been in distress and had an occurrence happen and was very upset, but not in a way that would have been like something you need to do, I guess, that would have been known. And she was very honest about past suicide attempts. I think there was a part of me that believed that she thought she was like invincible and that she could never die. I think she very much was also marginalized from society and in her struggles with family and that pain. I don't know. The particular night, so I had been with her because I knew she like was upset, so I stopped by her house on my way home, and we'd spent some time together, and we even shared laughs, and then I left, and it happened, within a few hours later. So I don't know. I still, and it's like one of those things you'll never know of like that. Was this a decision like that she had made a long time ago? And were there things that were signs of like this preparing, so to speak? Because there was no letter. That wasn't her style. It was just, unannounced. I think that Jay, like losing her, I mean, it turned my world upside down, and I think I can say that for other folks as well. Even if it was something that was like a topic of conversation and not foreign, it still is unimaginable. But I think that you can't not be changed by it. In the beginning of after losing Jade, there is very much of time when the idea of future and reality didn't exist. There was just like, it was just, hard to cope with that this was true, that this person was no longer with us. So we went to the apartment the day after it happened, and you walked into the house and it smelled like her. And I just remember that, like, then I was just struck with, like, right in the doorway where I had last hugged her, and remembering that. And, like, the packing of her things was all things. It was both, there was, like, a playfulness to it and very much this, like, deep sorrow and longing for her. Like, I would trade her for any of the things. Yeah, everything I feel like comes in multiple phases. Like, there's the first initial going through things and putting some in boxes, and it was never just like, okay, now you're done. Then I had boxes in my trunk of her belongings for 3 months, and then it was like another chapter that is moving it into a different space, and so it's always just lots of layers. I think for myself, I can say too, like, and it's still something I'm having to work with, but like letting myself be held in community when I'm not even sure what it is I need. So allowing, like, not doing it alone, I think has been important. You can't hold on to everything. Again, this like almost being resistant to letting go of the physical and letting it become like, yeah, just more of a weight rather than like, I do have particular things like these earrings that were hers, and I'm like, I cherish these and I honor these, but I don't have to hold everything. I recently went through a bout of anger towards her. Turns out I don't know how to deal with anger too. I suppress that emotion. So, yes. And I think this, like, oh, the phases of grief, I'm like, oh, in some ways I joke about it. I'm like, oh, I just entered that one. But it's very true. There can be, like, there's freedom in that to be like, okay, like, this is a normal thing to feel, too. Recently, being faced with just so much, I'm trying to change my ways, too, and not always let myself just sink into my sorrow and have a pity party, even because it's so comfortable. Like, I'm too comfortable in that space, so I've been trying to make little changes in myself. So I've been channeling my emotion into painting, and this is just the beginning. I especially appreciate this process because I can cry into it, I can laugh. It's like all of the emotions that I feel and that Jade feels and felt. I'm breathing into this picture. I think we just need to learn how to like set aside our differences too, and like see each other not from like all of like removing the I too, and not taking everything personal, and it doesn't have to be personalized to us, but just showing up for people because that person needs it, even if they're a stranger. You can remind them you're not alone, but I don't know that there is anything you can say. You just have to be there. And you are enough just as you are. It really needs to be strengthened so that people, even facing those thoughts and feelings, will like have that truth deeply embedded in them.